because school was sort of historically where you went to get info. Well, when info is ubiquitous all over the
Right.
place, you've mentioned access a couple times. I think that's a really important word. Uh, well, what's school for then? Like that's a really pressing question.
Right, right. Which I love the question and what it's asking us to consider because it's asking us to reconsider why we go to school.
Hmm.
And I agree. I want to use the word augment or enter into.
Yeah,
I don't think the internet's going to replace the school, but it's come into the school,
right.
and it can't stay the same. It has to figure out this new wineskin, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
It's got to it's got to respond. I don't want. I hope it doesn't just react. And
Right.
it's interesting when I watch. So good education isn't afraid of any technology,
Yes.
but it doesn't succumb to sort of the, I guess, Chesterton's notion of chronological snobbery. If it's new, it must be good.
Hmm.
Well, not necessarily. And
Right.
so I'm watching, for instance, some of the wealthiest, elitist, private prep schools in America go through and back out the back door of the one-to-one school.
Hmm.
They certainly had the resources. At some of these are 35 or 40,000 a year in tuition for high school,
Right.
and they certainly have the means to put an iPad or a Chromebook or something in every kid's hands.
Hmm.
And if that's better, they'd better do it, or their constituents are going to start pounding the table. Well, there was this sort of progressive predilection for anything new. Well, surely computers are going to revolutionize the classroom.
Hmm. Hmm.
I would say it's changed the classroom,
Right.
but there's still a lot of talk about whether or not studying or reading or being on a computer screen all day is better education. And it's interesting. The really wealthy schools are now pitching it, and I see an article about once a week. It seems like where some other school has decided they gave it a good 8 to 10 year shot, and
They're going back to the sources.
it hasn't it hasn't raised our test scores. It hasn't produced better thinkers. It has provided access. I don't see anybody denying that.
Right.
I have to try and teach my students that there's access to good material, and then there's just access to the intellectual dump.
Hmm.
And and it's interesting I think generally speaking, the best scholarship is still by subscription and by the people that are out there putting the time and effort into real scholarship expect to be paid for that, and I
Right.
can't fault them for that.
No.
And so my students are kind of like, hey, you know, I did the Google Scholar search for my thesis, and they want $25 for this, and they want me to join this and subscribe to that, and
Hmm.
I don't have that kind of money. And I said, well, let's so be glad you live in a college town where you can go down and
Right.
jump on the college internet that's going to provide you with JSTOR access or whatnot, and still be able to get it. You know it's there now. You're just bothered by the fact that it isn't all democratically free.
Right.
Uh, People still want a little pittance for their thoughts.
Hmm.
So
And that's yeah. Okay. So within notions of access, then um, some pretty new. I don't know that they're new, but some challenges are recast. One is just what you said, right? Just this notion of, hey, I can get any information I want now. No, that's actually not the case. Not yet. Now, maybe if you're some super awesome hacker, like I guess then you could, right? Um, but just your rank and file internet user still has plenty of paywalls that they run into if
yeah,
they are looking for specific information on some topic, right? Now, it's just like a library. There's enough in there to keep you reading until you die, but not every single thing that you could think of is there. Um, and so, yeah, like, but seeing that, I don't think students are
Well,
aware of
here's
that until later on, until they actually
right.
until
So
they have a specific problem that they need an answer to or they want an answer to, and then they can't find it. Right?